Well, for more on this, I'm joined now live by Christian Fiala. He's a doctor of medicine who challenges the mainstream views on HIV/AIDS. Thanks for being on the programme, Doctor. Why are you challenging the vast majority of the scientific community, then, who say this link is proven beyond all doubt? What proof do you have that's so different?
Well, there is a number of contradictions and unfulfilled prophecies and predictions which we have seen over the last 20-25 years. There is no epidemic in Europe, there is no epidemic in the United States, and in Africa, AIDS is mainly renaming poverty-related diseases. And as a clinician, I find it just not helpful. And I
just want to ask you, so you're disagreeing with UNAIDS, you're disagreeing with the World Health Organization, both very respectable organizations that do have their finger on the pulse that say, no, it is an epidemic.
Well, respectable they are, but obviously they can err, and obviously they are driven by interests. And we saw that just last year with this mass vaccination for flu. And now, in retrospect, it has become obvious that they were driven by pharmaceutical interests. And the same, I'm afraid to say, is true for HIV. It's a huge movement, mainly driven by pharmaceutical interests and not driven by the care for the individual patients. And my obligation as a doctor is mainly to serve my patients.
But nonetheless, proven science, or as far as most of us know, proven science, I know you disagree, says that if you get infected with HIV, it is best at very early stages to get retroviral therapy that will put off any development of AIDS symptoms as long as possible, maybe up to 25 years. You're really basically saying people, if they do have HIV, shouldn't worry, maybe shouldn't even go for a test if they believe they put themselves at risk. Then aren't what you're saying, isn't what you're saying almost criminal in some ways?
Well, I'm sorry to contradict you. I'm not believing. I'm going back to the facts, and the facts tell that people who test positive for various reasons, even the producer of the tests, are not aware of a standard to verify presence or absence of HIV antibodies in human blood. End quote. That's what you find in the product information. Even people who test positive not necessarily come down with AIDS even after 20 or 25 years. However, those people who have been treated with antiretrovirals in the early 90s, they have been killed by the treatment, which was AZT 1.5 gram per day, which is even acknowledged by doctors now that it is lethal. So I am not believing. I'm reading the facts and I'm acting according to facts, but independent of pharmaceutical interests. And that's what I think what all doctors should do, regardless of the majority or not.
What sort of conversations do you have with fellow scientists who believe the opposite to you? They believe that conventional thinking, you're going to meet a lot of them at this meeting tomorrow after all. How do your conversations go on? How do you get by?
Unfortunately, most of them, they mix up science with a religious or political movement, and just as you said, they say, well, but the majority believes this, you should just follow. I'm sorry to say, science is not a majority vote. Science is a free competition of the best arguments and verifiable arguments. It is verifiable that there is no epidemic. It is verifiable that all the predictions from the last 10 to 20 years have been totally wrong. It is verifiable that AIDS treatment killed a huge number of AIDS patients in the early 90s, and it is verifiable that AIDS treatment today is just less toxic than in the early 90s. And I would call for an open debate to test the best arguments and not for a majority vote in science, which is totally dangerous and will lead us in the wrong direction to the damage of our patients.
OK, well, the views there. Christian Fiala, Doctor of Medicine, practicing in Vienna. Thanks for being on the line with us. Your views appreciated.